Thanks to Sana Skin Studio for supporting the No podcast. Sana is a skin studio that is shifting the relationship with your skin and your products through goal-driven facials, real guidance, and clean skincare. Stay tuned for our promo code so you can receive $25 off of your first facial at Sana Skin Studio.
This episode of The No with Nikki Spo is brought to you by Toyota of North Miami.
Welcome to the No podcast with me, Nikki Spo.
What is up, fam? You are listening to The No, where it is not about knowing everything, but about coming to know ourselves. I am your hostess, Nikki Spo, and I'm so glad you're here for another jam-packed episode. I drop new episodes every Tuesday, so make sure that you click subscribe on whichever platform you're listening in on so that you never miss an update. Today, I am visiting with master marketer Nikki Nash, who is known for crafting mind-blowing strategies, assembling kick-butt marketing teams, and freeing visionary CEOs from the marketing grind. In a previous life, she helped Fortune 100 companies and tech startups make more money. And with her advice, I think she can help us all achieve some of our business goals and ultimately make that money honey. So with that, let's get started with Nikki Nash. What's up, Nikki Nash? Welcome to The No, where it is not about knowing everything, but about coming to know ourselves. I'm glad you're here because, well, I feel like I have a lot to learn from you. So obviously, like, my business is podcasting, writing, and content creation. So by default, I guess that I'm kind of in marketing.
I mean, you do marketing things.
I don't know all the technical terms and strategies of marketing, and I'm mostly like over here just like flying by the seat of my pants. And to be honest, like, I'm hitting the walls all the time about like how to take my show to the next level, how do we reach a wider audience, and like all of that. And I think a lot of business owners are having the same feelings and goals. Like, how do we get our special product that we believe in so much in front of more people? How do we get them to spend their hard-earned money on it? So what do you think is the biggest roadblock for companies and business owners when it comes to marketing?
The biggest roadblock that other people will say is like for themselves. When people come to me, it's usually, hey, we're not converting at the same rate that we used to, or we're not getting enough leads, or things along those lines. But what I say their biggest roadblock is looking at them is the ability for the person who's steering the ship. So it's the leader. It could be the CEO. It could be the head of marketing. But who's ever steering this marketing ship to say, hey, I'm going to put a stake in the ground and say, this is our hypothesis on how we're going to take the business to the next level or how we're going to grow. And our only job is to keep testing, validating, iterating on this hypothesis and plan. And I think so often people will say, oh my goodness, I tried this, but if it doesn't work, then here's plan B, C, D, E, and F, and they're completely different than plan A. And it's like, no, like plan B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, should be variation. It's just improvements on A, modifications of plan A.
I think by nature also, like, we look for a quick fix, right? So we want plan A to be a hit. And then if it's not working immediately, right? Immediately, we're like, okay, next, complete new plan. What you're saying, Nikki, is like, don't throw out the plan, tweak the plan.
Yes, literally. If people only understood that, I probably wouldn't have a job.
How do you even come up with that plan? Like, how do business owners come up with the plan? How does the marketing director come up with the plan?
I have a framework that we can absolutely walk through in terms of like what should go into said plan. But how you fill out the plan, it's basically what I would consider an educated guess. I think people, I had an entire career in marketing corporate, and oftentimes people would say, oh my goodness, but so you know what you're doing. I'm like, honestly, what I was doing, 90% of my job was taking an educated guess that this thing was going to work and confidently say, this is the thing that's going to work, and then convince people internally to increase my budget or give me more resources to do this thing that I just confidently said I believed was going to work. And then always, like, if things didn't work, it was like, hey, we really believe this was going to work. We figured out like this was the thing or the reason why it didn't work as well as we expected. But we are confident that if when we do this again and we make this tweak, that then we'll start seeing results. And it's like you just you keep doing the same thing, but you have to be confident. You have to believe that it's going to work for you, because if it doesn't, or if you don't, it's one, not going to work, and two, it's not going to have the excitement and momentum and like passion behind implementing it. You have to be like, this is the thing that's going to help me grow my business.
I love that you said, Nikki, that a part of it is just the educated guess part, right? I think that we oftentimes feel like we have to know what the exact answer is, right? And it is a formula. Like even when I asked you the question, I'm like, what is it? What is it? Like, that's what I want to know. What's the answer? I just want the answer. Give me the direct answer. Please, Nikki. You know what I mean? But what you said is like, it's not necessarily an answer. It's an educated guess. You're guessing. And then from there, it's going to be trial and error too. But I think that a lot of what you're saying is your enthusiasm behind it, right? And that really is going to direct the outcome of what happens.
100%. And a lot of the like educated guessing, if you've been in business a while, then it's what's worked, what hasn't worked, what have people liked, who's your audience? Like, you have some data. You might not have been collecting it or tracking it, or maybe you have and you just haven't been looking at it. But if you have a business, there is something for you to kind of reference from an educated guess perspective. If you're brand new and just getting started, then a lot of it is a combination of what has worked for somebody else and why do I believe something like this could work for me, right? And I think so often when people are brand new or starting a new thing or adding a new product to their business model, right? There's this thing that's, oh, well, Susie, or this person over here did it this way. And so I'm going to do that. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to follow Jacob's plan. And it's like, no. Like, if you're going to commit to Susie's plan, then you do it. And then you discover what did and didn't work for you, because you are a different person with a different business and different clients. And then you go, all right, here's what worked. Here's what didn't work. Let's tweak what didn't work and do it again.
When you talk about like, I have this enthusiasm, right? Like, this is my show and I'm enthusiastic about my show and I can sell my show. I can pitch myself. I'm so enthusiastic about what I'm doing. I really believe in it, right? Yeah. Now I have a team under me. How do I get their buy-in, right? So we're going to come back to this idea. So everybody stay tuned, because that's really important for companies and business owners, is to get their employees to buy in and invest and be as emotionally invested in it as you are. So we are going to come back to that. So don't leave this episode, because that's going to be some important, juicy stuff. So, but before we get there, another topic that I want to start with is like why CEOs should not be their own CMOs.
I am a CEO and I don't even believe I should be CMO. And when I started my business, I was, but the reason why you shouldn't be is because the role of the CEO is to have a clear long-term vision, at least like 3 years out. Where the heck is this business going? To ensure that the ship is steering in that direction. And then ideally focus on things like building assets that are important to the business, negotiating strategic partnerships, getting more thought leadership or visibility and exposure for the company. And so like that's really what I see the CEO needing to focus on. And if you're simultaneously needing to figure out how to find clients or customers, market to them, bring them on and all that jazz, you're constantly going from here's the future success in business or actions for the business, and here's what needs to happen right now. And most people don't have the skills to do that, like to do both, right? Most people don't have the marketing skills in the first place. And so even if you do have the skills, like even though I had the skills and the knowledge, I still shouldn't be the person doing that. When I started my business, my goal has always been, how quickly can I train and develop someone in the wonderful world of marketing so I can take myself out of it? And it's literally, hey, Nikki, we need you to go speak on a podcast. Hey, Nikki, we need you to record this video. But I'm being told what to do, not sitting there figuring out what to do, trying to figure out all the nitty gritty and all that jazz. Because it's two different things. CMO is helping to realize the vision of the CMO or the CEO. CEO just needs to focus on that vision all day, every day, and talk about it all day, every day.
Talk to us then about marketing conductors.
Yes. Okay. So depending on the size of the business, not every business has like a full CMO type of hat, because that's typically somebody who is like high level strategy going, all right, here's the vision of the CEO. Here's how it applies to marketing. Here's like managing all the divisions of marketing. What's likely for a lot of smaller businesses, coaching businesses, online education businesses, things of different sizes, is that you need someone who is literally looking at Here's what needs to happen for us to acquire clients consistently, like acquire leads, and literally orchestrate and make sure anybody who's touching that is really kind of like an orchestra, like they're the conductor. They're literally the person at the front that's like, social media, great, cue, it's your turn, do this. Oh, it's leading up to a webinar team, like get this rolling. Oh, follow-up team, here's what you're in charge of. And you're literally just, the conductor is the person making sure everybody's doing what they need to be doing at the right time. And together it all sounds and works beautifully together.
So it sounds like a kind of like a managerial position.
Yeah. So it is definitely a managerial position, like a leadership position. That being said, inside of a business, depending on the size of the business, that in smaller businesses, that person's leading and also likely doing something. Like they're not just watching and making sure everybody's doing stuff. They likely have their own things that
they're getting their hands dirty in
they're getting
the
their
levels too. Kind of like assisting. So, and I'll give you an example of from personal experience. Is like I used to work in an art gallery, right? And I was a gallery director at an art gallery. It was a very small art gallery. We had like maybe 6 people who worked with us. Everybody was responsible for one thing, and then there was a gallery manager who was like oversaw all of it, but helped everybody with everything. Yes. So it's like that type of energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that person has to know a lot about all of the things that are happening at the same time. So it's not just like, because I think that when I say like managerial position, it sounds like just somebody who sits back and watch, but that's not what we're saying at all. What we're saying is like this person actually has to know a little bit of all of it, right? Or a lot of bit of all of it. And I want to make a dance comparison because obviously I have a dance background, but you know, there's a position on a show and it's called a swing. And that means it's like an understudy, right? It's a person who's an alternate, and they can at any given moment jump in if somebody gets hurt and fill that person's role. That means they have to know all the choreography of all the parts.
You know, it's so funny, Nikki. It's like you were reading my brain, because I was literally going to say the other thing that person needs to do, and the reason why they need to know everybody's gig is because if somebody takes vacation, if somebody quits and leaves, like they need to be able to plug the hole, fill the gap, do the thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you really have to know what everybody's doing, how everybody's doing it, where they are, have the skills and knowledge to be able to pick up and roll with it. You don't need to be like the best at it, right? Like if you swing in, it should be damn good, right? Like you don't want the audience to go, ooh, that person should not have been there.
Right, exactly.
But you might not necessarily have been like standing ovation the same way that the lead role had.
I have like a tiny team, you know, and I love the people on my team, but it's a lot of work for all of us, right?
Yeah.
What are your tips on building a rockstar marketing team?
I think that like the first thing when you're thinking about building a rockstar marketing team is to realize that there are different types of people, right? Like there are folks that are more strategists and strategic thinkers. Like if I were going to go back to working on somebody's team, I'm a strategist. I'm looking at like, here's the goal and here's how we're going to get there. And here's the strategy behind it. And here's what needs to happen. Then you also have some people that are very tactical and implementers. So somebody who's like, hey, I am going to post on Instagram. They may have like a baby strategy for Instagram, but it's not looking at the whole business of marketing, right? And so you need different types of roles to have a rockstar marketing team. You need people that are looking at the big picture, strategic thinkers. Like I tend to be the person on the team that if you're talking nitty gritty, I need you to first bring it up to like airplane view level, like penthouse suite looking down. Like I need to understand that, and then we can go nitty gritty. But if you go nitty gritty first, it's not going to work for me. But
do you think that that's universal? Do you think that that's universal, or is that you specific? Do you think that most businesses should operate that way?
I think that on a team, you need someone who works that way, and they need to be in a strategic type role. But you also need people that are nitty gritty. Like, this is the most basic example. But when it comes to like, I have a business partner in a certain business and we do retreats, right? And I'm the person that will have like the vision for the retreat. And I'll be like, all right, here's like, if we're going to give gifts, I'm actually, like I might be the person that's like, here's the whole vision. Here's what the retreat looks like. Here's how it plays into everything that we're offering and selling or doing. That's like strategic. Then you have the person, and my business partner's great at this. It's like, all right, well, we're going to need breaks at this time. We're going to need lunch. We need to take into account everybody's dietary things. Like I'm a vegetarian. I call myself a veggie vegan because I'm somewhere in between being vegan and vegetarian. And then you have people with gluten intolerances and all these things. She's the person that's going to take all that into consideration and order a fabulous lunch. I am never in charge of ordering lunch. I never want to be in charge of ordering lunch. That level of detail, not great for me.
Like operations.
Operations. I'm not that person. So you need both to have a winning team. I can, like, I'm really good at, for example, buying gifts for people. So I can figure out like what the gifts are going to be, but then I still am not the person that puts it into a beautiful bag and makes it look nice because that's not my skill set. So it's like you need someone that can see the big picture, the vision. Businesses run that way. You need them, but you also need people that are just like, I am really good at getting stuff done. I'm really good at project managing. I'm really good at tactics. Like those are kind of the three things you need. If you have a good strategist, a good project manager, and good doers, you're solid. And the reality is you'll have people that maybe have skill sets and a number of things, right? Like I'm a great strategist. Sure. I'm a great doer of very specific things, right?
Sure.
Like I am not the doer that's going to create graphics for social media and crush it. That's not me. Like you don't want to call me for that. That's not the thing. If you want to have a strategy for making money with social media, totally. If you want me to post for you, probably not a good plan. So it's just understanding that from a team dynamic and having all of those roles.
So what it sounds like, though, is this is something that seems aspirational for a lot of small businesses, because I think a lot of small businesses don't have the budgets to hire those people, right? And have multiple people. Like small businesses get started, and usually from what I've heard from speaking with countless entrepreneurs is like the business owner is wearing so many hats at once. So 100%. How do we get to that point? How do smaller businesses get to the point where they're able to say, okay, I can now go out and hire these people so that I can sit in my role and just kill it in my role, and they can sit in their role and kill it in theirs.
Yeah, I think the first thing is realizing that you need all of those skills, but you don't need them to be an individual different people. So like, let's say you have, when I started, it was myself and a virtual assistant, right?
Okay.
I know that I'm really great at strategy, and I know that I can get things done tactically if somebody just tells me, gives me a deadline and tells me to do it.
Right.
I needed my virtual assistant. The ones that work well for me and my skills are the person that is a great project manager that can be like, Nikki, this is when stuff needs to be done by, and puts it in my calendar, right? And great at very specific tactical things that I can't do. So it's like the best thing you can do is first do a real special audit on what skills you actually have. Are you a great strategist? Are you like, what tactical things can you do in your sleep? Like, what can you do? And then look for what can't you do that is important to get done. I think too often I've seen small businesses where they are like, oh, I need a team. I need help because I have so much to do. And I'm like, if your business is not consistently generating revenue, the only thing that you need to be doing is marketing, sales, and delivery. That's it. If you're not consistently marketing and getting in front of more people, if you're not consistently selling and like building a relationship with those people such that they know that they want to buy from you, and then you're not delivering an amazing experience, anything outside of that, like the must-haves, like you can come up with a million things to do under those things, but like if I could only do 3 things in each category, what would they be? Like you have to prioritize first.
Totally.
And I think so often people are like, I need all the things. I didn't have a website when I started my business. I had a Google Doc and a cell phone, and I went live in on Facebook because this was like 8 or 9 years ago. I went live on Facebook. I got people on the phone with me, and then I read off of a Google Doc what I offered. That was it. And then I had a way to take money.
And I had a way to accept your money.
Exactly. That was it. And I'll talk to people and they're like, all right, I need to design this website, and then I need business cards, and then I need this. I go to networking events all the time, or events where I speak, and people are like, do you have a card? I'm like, nope, but I have my cell phone. What's your number? What's your email? Let's become friends on Facebook or LinkedIn. Like, what's a way to contact you? I just need to be able to contact you. I don't need to like have all of the things and focus on that. It's like,
I think that's really important that you said that.
Yeah. keep it simple. I'm not trying to put like companies that help people with branding and swag out of business, but in my opinion, until you've validated your offer and you have consistent money coming in, you don't have a business. You have something that you're building. Don't invest money in like making sure everything aesthetically looks right. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, just put up like a single page if you desperately want a website that says, we're getting a makeover, new website coming soon. Here's the way to contact me. And like just send people to wherever you want, your LinkedIn, your cell phone number, an email address, doesn't matter. And then it makes you feel like, okay, there's a place for people to go, but it's just a placeholder. And then you can build it once you actually have money coming in consistently. You're able to pay yourself. And it's kind of like a basic website, like a Rev 1 of the website or something like that.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break so I can thank our sponsor, Sana Skin Studio, with their OG location in Wynwood and their additional locations in Fort Lauderdale and Coconut Grove. Okay, so the best way I can describe Sana is that it feels like coming home. Unlike traditional facials, Sana's facials are rooted in education, and I love this so much. Every experience I have had at Sana has been a chance for me to learn more about my skin and its needs. I love that the facials are effective while also being accessible enough to be a monthly ritual rather than a yearly splurge. This is why the Sana membership is so great. I'm honored to be able to provide our audience with a promo code. Use the code THEKNOGLOW for $25 off of your first facial when booking at sanaskinstudio.com and additional incentives if you book a membership. I have absolutely loved my skin healing journey with Sana Skin Studio. In case you missed it, I am loving my new Toyota Tundra, which has really opened up a world of possibilities for me and has facilitated so many fun projects at home and is letting me go all the places. When shopping for a new car, Toyota of North Miami has to be at the top of your list. Toyota of North Miami is a Miami-based dealership that offers you a superior selection of new Toyota vehicles, as well as a large inventory of used vehicles and certified pre-owned Toyotas. Toyota of North Miami is conveniently located off of I-95, not far from North Miami Beach, and their storefront has more than 85,000 square feet of shopping space. With so much room, they always have more than 1,000 vehicles in stock at all times, including popular models like the Toyota Camry, Toyota RAV4, Toyota Corolla, and the Toyota Prius. There is a kids room, so you know that made my life easier, and overall, their vehicle experts are kind, informative, and offer superior customer service. Right now, you can lease a new Toyota Corolla for just $79 a month and get free car washes for life. Be sure to check out Toyota of North Miami for all of your car purchasing needs.
Hay que tratar muy bien a los clientes y también ofrecemos free car washes for life.
Free car washes for life? Free car washes for life!
Lease a new Toyota Corolla for just $79 a month and receive free car washes for life.
So I feel like I've done this so many times in so many like tiny little businesses that I started since I was like a teenager. It's like I needed to have the website and exactly what you're saying. Like I had to have the website and the business cards and I had to look perfectly put together, perfectly presented. The reality was that, Nikki, I did not actually have the business. You get me? Like that, and that's basically what you're saying is like I didn't have the business. I looked like I had a business and I had no business, right? Like we need to be in the stages of like how we can make money. And I think that you're right. Like I also have a background in sales. Is like I can sell ice to somebody who lives in Alaska, honey. Like, you know, like your sales team is going to be so important. And they do, I think, fall under marketing. You need to know how to sell your product. You need to do it with the enthusiasm, which brings me to that really juicy topic that I do want to talk about is like how to motivate your employees and the people on your team to have the same level of enthusiasm and excitement about the business or the product as the business owner does. How do we do that?
Yeah. So like first you just need to fundamentally understand people. And this, if you think about this also from a website and branding perspective, like most people are just focused on themselves, right? And I mean that in the most loving way possible. Like most people are thinking like, this is what I want my career to look like. This is what I want my life to look like. Here's what's going on with me. They're not so focused on you. And so if you want your team to have like a fire under their butt and a passion in their heart about what you're doing, you have to first understand what the heck they care about. Like, what are they passionate about? What are their real goals? What are their values? What is so important to them? And then your job is to tie your business to the things that matter to them. Like you bridge that gap so that when they're thinking about themselves and what's important for them, they're like, ooh, I have a career here. Ooh, I really love this person. Like, my best friend was on the phone with someone who owns a company the other day, and they were just having a chat. It wasn't a official job interview or anything, but they just connected so much on values and the vision of the company and what the person was doing. My bestie was like, I need to look, let's have a conversation about what you do and if there's a role for me here. Because she was so invested in who the CEO was and what their vision was and what they were already accomplishing. And they connected on on their values and the way that they saw the world and the way they saw the industry. It's like you pull people in that way. It doesn't matter what the heck their role is. If you can get them sold in and they can see how it connects with their like vision for their own life and what they care about.
I love that. I just wrote it down, like what matters to you is like, and bridging that between your employees and the business values and seeing how you can place people in areas that they will that they will thrive in, right? Like there's an old school book called Strength Finders, right? It's like where we focus like, what am I actually really, really good at here? And you touched on that earlier in our conversation about like when you're doing a self audit, when you're auditing yourself, when you say, I need help, because right, I've been there. Like, and I'm a mom of three, like, and an entrepreneur. It's like, I'm like, I need help. So even if I'm wearing my mom hat, I'm like, what don't I have time to do? Well, I don't have time to like dust the really, really high shelves over there. So, and I don't have time to do all my laundry all the time. So maybe it would be worth it to me to invest in a housekeeper once or twice a week or something like that, right? What is important to me? Maybe I need somebody now that my kids are older and they're going to 5 different sporting events at one time. Maybe I need a babysitter who can drive, right? Like those are the things, right? So I'm like, this doesn't just apply. And the reason why I love having these conversations is because like entrepreneurial goals and all of these conversations, they don't just apply to like the work life, they apply to like life, right? And you hear a lot about like stay-at-home moms and women who aren't working parents, right? But if you're running a home, I'm sorry, you're a working parent. Like you're a working parent. If you're managing your home, you're a working parent. If you're managing a home and you're working, you're a double working parent.
Yeah, I am single, live by myself and run a business, right? And I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. And I'm very clear that I want to be married and have kids. And my best friend's married, has a 4-year-old son. He's going to turn 5 in about a month, and has a big job at a company. And I literally said to her, I'm like, I am one person. I am by myself. And it is a full-time job to clean my apartment, do my laundry, cook for myself to make sure I have like healthy food, and I meal prep for myself. And I'm like, it's a full-time job and I'm one person. How the heck do you do this as a family? I'm like, it's a lot. And I'm like, and she said, I kid you not, because her mom stayed home. Her mom didn't have a career outside the home. She worked in the home. And she was like, yeah, I didn't give my mom enough credit until I had a kid. And I realized that this is a whole other job. And then they're doing renovations on her house. And she's also now like, basically, because she's home, the one that manages the construction crew and all this other stuff. So she's like, I got a million jobs.
I think that more businesses are actually like respecting the role of a homemaker and somebody who oversees a home, because like straight up, all of these things that I could put on my resume, like things that you're saying, like overseeing the construction and organization and like who needs what foods, and this one's allergic to that and this one's not allergic to this and this one can eat that, and any special needs that are involved, like it's a legitimate job. And to the point of like running a home and having a family, like everybody does need to be on the same page about where the family unit is going, just like in our business life, right? So just like tying it back to like, how do you get everybody on the same team and motivated? Like I might have a checks and balances system with my kids. Like for example, I give my kids an allowance, right? I'm like, okay, everybody has to help with the house. So everybody gets an allowance. You guys get $5 a week and this is what you have to do. And everybody now is like they take pride in it, and they have a shared vision, and they realize, okay, this is what we can do to help and be part of the family. And that is no different than running an actual business, right? Where you're like, how can I motivate my staff, my employees, my partners to be completely invested in what we're doing. And it's finding what they're good at and bridging the gap between the two, just like you said.
100%.
How do you strike a balance between hiring then experienced professionals? And I want to say something. So, like, honestly, when I was starting my business, I had the worst experience with a marketing team. And I felt like I wasted thousands of valuable startup dollars, right? Like, what are the questions we should be asking? So, like, we have these young companies that are like, I'm ready. I'm ready for the marketing team. Let's go. Like, what are the questions we should be asking when we're taking that leap?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that most people don't get when they're like an entrepreneur or small business owner about marketing is that people who have experience in marketing, it's such a freaking huge field that people can have skills in a variety of different things. And so I'm always a big fan of understanding specifically what you need and ensuring that that person has experience in it. So for example, I have a friend and he has a business where he goes into companies, like mid-sized companies, Fortune 500 companies, and he teaches and facilitates on leadership. And he needs someone in marketing that can essentially make those, like, help him get inside more companies. And I'm like, okay. And he said he hired someone that could help with LinkedIn because he believed LinkedIn would be the way, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, yeah, it's not just that they have experience with LinkedIn. It's you need to find someone that has specifically helped people get inside mid-sized and Fortune 500 companies to speak. That's a very different skill set. Yeah, they may use LinkedIn as the vehicle, but you need somebody that specifically has done what you've done. It's not just LinkedIn. And so if you're like, hey, I want to grow my podcast, then you want to find a marketing agency that specifically helped grow a podcast. And then I'm like, okay, you can do the thing, but then also equally as important is how do you do the thing? And is the way that they're going to do it in alignment with the values that you have? Because the big problem that my friend had with the agency that he hired for LinkedIn is that their strategy was so out of alignment with how he shows up with companies and LinkedIn that it was just like, it wasn't going to work anyway. So it's like the questions that I would ask is really like, what is their experience helping a business just like you get the results that you're looking for? I would speak to those people. I would ask them what their process is. And then I would really figure out what their values are and if your values and their values align. Because I know there are a ton of people, and like, I don't want to give marketers a bad rep, but I've had clients that were like, yeah, I'm going to help businesses with marketing. And I'm like, cool, what's your marketing experience? They're like, I worked in corporate. I'm like, okay, great. I worked in corporate. A lot of people in corporate marketing had very specific siloed jobs, and they were very good at a specific thing. I don't even understand how I had the career I had, because I ended up doing all sorts of different jobs and then went into tech startups and then went in on my own. So I had a very interesting experience, like a broader experience than most people. But like, I'm like, okay, but what you were doing in corporate actually isn't applicable to the small businesses that you're going after at all. So if you want to go after small businesses, that's fine, but you have to truly understand what they need and how they grow and skill up in that area, right? Because if you don't, then you're not going to help them and you're not going to get consistent clients. You're not going to retain your clients and you're going to get a bad rep.
How do you navigate like balancing, nurturing your current team and hiring outside and hiring more experienced professionals? Because we want, like, at least I do, I pride myself on like teaching my younger people how to do the things. Like I always tell the women who work for me, and at this time women work for me, that I'm like, this is not your end job. I'm like, I want to prep you for your next big job. I want you to be here with me for a little bit and knock it out of the ballpark. And I'm going to teach you everything that I can teach you about this industry that I'm in, so that you can go on to your next job and say, look, I have all of this experience on my resume and this is what I can do for you. So I personally love growing people, right? I also realize that like I might need to invest in somebody who has more experience. So how do you strike that balance?
So there's a lot of ways to do it. And the thing, I'm going to give you some examples and then talk about some questions to ask. So for example, I've done this work with companies where they've had a team and their team just didn't have the knowledge or the experience to get the business to the next level, but she loved the people. So I came in and I was essentially like, I'm going to come in almost like a fractional CMO type of person, but that's not really what, like, I was a more like a fractional director is really what it was, where I came in for a period of time. I built a strategy for the business. I taught the but I walked her team through how I was building the strategy, why I was doing it. And then I trained and developed them, right? So I kind of came in intentionally teaching folks so that they can grow and scale. And then what I said I'd do for her, this company, and she was already doing a few million, is that it was, if I look at your team, if there's someone who I feel could actually step up and take over leading the team, I'm going to recommend that be the person. If that person doesn't exist in your team, I will help your team get clear on the skills and the growth plan that they need to have internally to get to the next level. And in the meantime, I'll help you find someone who can actually do it for your company. So I helped with hiring and stuff so that they could get the right person in. Because a lot of times the business owner, especially if they've never worked in marketing at a company or they're not a marketer, they might not know how to hire the right person. They might not know what questions to ask. They might not even know what they really need in the company in the first place, right?
So what are some of those questions?
It's a long list, but it kind of depends on. It really depends on the business that you have. But ultimately, what you would want to do is get really clear on where your business is now, where you want it to go, and if you don't have the skills to build a strategy or a game plan to get there, then you want to hire someone that can either as a consultant or as an internal hire build the plan to get there. And so a lot of questions that I would ask would literally be around what experience do you have with a company like me who was here and wanted to get there? And what would you do to get me there? And how would you approach it? Just questions to get inside their head to figure out, are they the right fit or person for your company, right? So that's one option. Another option is, and a lot of people do go this route, is they hire an agency. And they just straight up hire an agency to come in, and the team will work alongside or with the agency on certain things, and the team may manage the agency. But the thing about agencies is, again, you have to vet them. And I'm a big fan of doing trial periods. Not all agencies like this, most don't. But I'm too often you get locked in to working with someone in a longer contract, and then later you find out that they're not their strategy isn't actually right for you. They don't have knowledge in your industry or what really works there. And those are the things that I would really work for, is what is their track record helping someone just like you, same industry, same revenue or same challenges or same problems, achieve the same results that you want. How would they do it? Really kind of some of it's a gut check and a BS check. But it's can you get that specific when you're interviewing people or asking questions?
And I think a lot of this, and I want to encourage entrepreneurs to have the guts to ask the questions, because I think that guts go a long way. And I think that new business owners can sometimes feel very easily intimidated when you're going out into these, right? And you're asking help from the experts, and they know the things, and they're the ones that know the things, not me, right? So I want to be able to call them on their bullshit, to be honest. Not in a mean way. I'm just saying I want to know, put your money where your mouth is. If I'm going to invest X dollars in you to be doing this thing, how do I know you're going to get it done? Yeah. Right. And I want business owners to feel empowered to ask the questions and stand firm in expecting a legitimate answer.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's your business. And there are so many times where I've spoken to people who want to kind of not be in charge of making decisions and try to put it off on the person that they hire. I'm just going to hire an agency. I don't like marketing. I don't want to know anything about marketing. I'm just going to hire someone. But you still need to know enough to hire the right person. Yeah. And quite frankly, I believe you probably should be doing some things to understand your business and what actually is going to work so that you can hire the right person. And so depending on the size of the business and how you're growing. And so I think so often we're in an industry or an era, not really industry, a time where people are I want quick wins. Right. And I don't want to have to be responsible if we fail. It needs to be somebody else's fault or somebody else's thing. And at the end of the day, this is your business. Everything is on you. And so you need to make sure you're doing a really good job choosing the companies and the people that you have to help you grow.
Let's wrap up by going over having a clear marketing message and how to even develop that.
One of the biggest challenges people have is their messaging. And I think a lot of people overcomplicate it. At the end of the day, you want to ask yourself some very specific questions. And the first question, I'm going to do it in this order, but answer them in the order that the answer comes to you the fastest. The first thing that you really want to ask yourself is, what is the result that my buyers, like the people that are going to ultimately buy from you, are expecting or hoping to get from buying from you or working with you? Like, what is that result? It doesn't matter if you're selling a physical product, a service, like what people buy, people invest in things for a reason. What are their expectations? You have to get really clear on that first, because your messaging should be in alignment with the thing that they are expecting from you, right? So what is that promise? Are you helping people find the love of their life? Are you helping people get healthier? Are you helping people grow their email list? Are you helping people invest in real estate? Like, what specifically are you helping people with? And be as specific and detailed as possible. An example that I give, if you are someone who helps women who are entrepreneurs plan for and take maternity leave, that's specific, right? Like, you got to be pregnant or knowing you're having a baby and wanting to take maternity leave. And I'm going to help you plan and take your maternity leave in such a way that you come back to a business that's still making money. Like, that's very specific. You want to be so specific that somebody can go, heck yeah, I need that. Or nope, I don't need that because I'm not pregnant yet. But maybe I'll want it soon, right? Like, you need them to be a yes or no, ideally, from the result alone. Then you want to get clear on who is the person that will buy this thing and buy it now. Like, who is it specifically for, right? If it's to help people with maternity leave, maybe you are specifically focused on women, right? Who are in running a business of a certain size that want to take a certain amount of time off. Like, you might be that specific, but you want to get clear. Who is this specifically for, right? And then with those two, you kind of want to bridge the gap with, like, what is in their way right now? Like, why can't they do what it is? Why don't they have the result that you can help them with? Or why do they believe they can't get there by themselves? Like, what's in their way?
That's where you come in.
Yeah.
And that's where you come in, right?
Because that's where you're going to come in. So you need to know what their problems are. And then you need to have a clear solution. And when you have those four things clear, like the problem you help, or like the result you help people achieve, who you're helping achieve that, what's in their way, and your solution to what's in their way, then you can come up with a clear message with that alone. Even if you only said those things, like women who want this result but are struggling because of this problem, I have a solution for you. Like, if you just said that over and over again, people would get what you do, they'd get who you were, and they'd know really quickly whether or not they wanted to invest in your offering now.
So, Nikki, what is your clear message?
For women who have a coaching business doing under $100,000 that want to have consistent 10K months, I have a 8-week process that will help them start creating 10K months in their business. So, like, I have an accelerator that's very specific for that. My business partner and I have one that's very specific for women coaches that are fully booked in one-on-one and that want to double their business through group coaching, right? We have an offer for them. So it's like you depending on what you're offering, you have a specific message. We have a consulting business. That consulting business is for people that are of a certain level. They're 7 figures, 8 figures, and they want to grow by a certain percentage in the next 12 months or less. That's who we help in that, in our consulting business. So it's like, you just want to, for me, my, at the highest level, my audience is the same. It's like women business owners with a certain business model. They usually have like a coaching or online education, like content creation business model, but I have specific offers for them for specific phases of business.
Right.
And then we like graduate them to the next phase. It's like, okay, great. Yeah. You've gotten fully booked, right? Like, you're doing 10K months.
Now what?
Now you've graduated. Here's now your new goal and your new problems. We have a program for you. Oh, great. You've graduated from there. And now you're looking to, get to 7 figures. We have a new thing from there. Oh, you're already at 7 figures or 8 figures. Here's what's going on now that you have some team and some other stuff going on. and you're starting to see certain problems with like retention or something like that, great, we've got you. We're coming in as consultants for this specific thing. So it's like, you just want to be clear. And keep in mind, guys, I only had one of these when I started. I had one offer.
This is so important to point out and remind people.
Yeah. Like I've been in the game for like a decade now. So like when I started, I had like one offer, one result I was helping people with, one problem. And it was really those people that are doing under 6 figures. I was like helping them get to 6 figures. That's what I've been doing for the longest. I've always done, like, that was my jam. Then as those clients were like, great, we got here, what's next? I'm like, cool. All right, now let's build let me now offer you the other thing. And then I built that. And then it just kind of kept growing from there. So it's like, as people can grow with you, you can build the next thing. What people do wrong is they try to create all the things. And then they're like, I'm trying to sell all the things. It's like, no, you build the one thing. And then when people start getting you like, I've gotten people results, it's consistent, it's magic, then you move on to the next thing.
Well, maybe in a different way, if we're thinking about products, right? Maybe you have one hero product, right?
Yeah,
and
literally. I have one front end offer.
Right. Like you have that one hero product and it's the cream that you're going to put on your face. And once you master that cream and everybody is just so invested in, believes in that cream, and now you're going to start with a serum or something else, whatever. Like just really breathing life into that one thing until like you're ready to graduate yourself in your own business to the next.
Yeah. It's my business partner calls them feeder programs. Like the thing that I do to help get people to 6 figures feeds people into the group program that she and I do together. Something else we do feeds people into consulting.
So Nikki, where can people find you?
For people that are like, you know what, I am looking to build consistent revenue in my business, and maybe you're doing like, we'll say like under $500,000 in business. I have a free blueprint. It's literally called like the Profitable Entrepreneur. NikkiNash.co/blueprint. It'll come with a free video alongside of it because there are different learners. Like my business partner reads, I like to listen to something or watch it. So there's different ways to consume it. And then the only other place I would tell people to go after they grab that free guide is Instagram. I'm Nikki Nash Official. It's like I do daily advice on building, growing, and scaling businesses. And I'm really active in DMs. Like I voice memo people. So
love that.
Folks have questions or comments, that's probably the best place to go.
Thank you so much, Nikki. You are a gem. You are a wealth of knowledge. You helped me today. I know we're going to help so many other people, and I hope everybody gets an opportunity to check out NikkiNash.co.
This podcast was brought to you by Sana Skin Studio. Be sure to use my code, TheNoGlow, for $25 off of your first facial at Sana when booking via sanaskinstudio.com. More than a skin studio, Sana is a movement towards healthier skin and self-love.
This episode of The Know with Nikki Spo was brought to you by Toyota of North Miami.
Thank you so much for listening to The Know. If you loved this episode, go ahead and share it with a friend. Words are so powerful, and someone may need to hear what we covered today. And if you really loved this episode, please take a moment to rate the show and leave a review. Your comments are so important and valued, and they give other listeners insight on what to expect on The Know. You can connect with me personally via Instagram at Nikki Sap Spo and The Know with Nikki Spo. My hope for you today is that you are fearless in looking inward so that you can be your highest, most authentic self and go after the life of your dreams.